Jack, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Sports radio. Okay, you got me hooked on this Lebertard guy. I mean, I'm telling you, you
Yes.
got me hooked. I wasn't buying it to begin with,
Right.
and I think it was the laugh, Stugatz' laugh that kind of did it for me. Because, but anyway, so
It had to be more than that.
no, it was the laugh because I felt like they were laughing the whole time. You know, they were laughing stuff. But now I like the openness and honesty with this. What is it you like most about Lebertard?
Well, I think what I like most about Lebertard is that's part of it. The openness and the honesty. You know, he is not one to rehash the results from last night. We'll talk about certain things that may have happened in the game or something like that, but he is not one to give you, okay, he scored this and they did that and all this kind of stuff. He's more interested in the human side of things, of sports and stories that come out, not so much the results of the athletic contests themselves, but the human stuff, the how the interaction with human beings one to another, and not so much who wins and loses. I think that really, I like that he digs pretty good. He's a very bright, articulate guy. And if you put up with some of that humor, you read through some of that stuff. And but I really do enjoy that show.
And so he's not just giving scores.
No.
He's not just being a news person. He's more of a insightful, authentic journalism, because you said his background is journalism.
Yeah. But it's like the story they were doing that he is really wrapped up in the Chris Bosh story with the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
Chris Bosh wants to play basketball again. He's dealing with the clotting situation in his body.
Sure.
And he's taken some medicines and things like that for sure. But the Miami Heat, they insist they don't want him playing for his own health. And so now you're trying to protect the player from himself.
Right.
And Lebertard has gone through that whole thing every day almost. He ends up talking about that Bosh story and the conflict that's there between the team, the player. And you got to look at the player, and blood clotting can be a very serious issue.
I don't know of another situation in sports where that has occurred.
No, I'm not aware of one where the player wants to play and the team says you can't play.
Yeah, we've heard of some tragic situations, maybe with Hank Gathers, and other people who have, had some tragic situations that maybe they should have been more precautious and so forth. And
now the team has obviously gone to extents here, to the great extent that we don't want you playing, period. End of conversation. Now he's trying to find a doctor that will tell the Miami Heat it's okay if he plays. Well, doctors have said it's not okay if he plays. So it's a real conflict.
Yeah, because it's not like we're not talking about a sprained ankle.
No.
Hey, let's walk this thing out.
Correct. Exactly right.
And tape it off.
Yeah.
Now, as far as sports radio shows, the ones that we studied, like the Herd.
Right.
I used to like him, as you would say, on that platform when he was with ESPN.
Right.
I like that. Now, we have found him on YouTube with us. He's hanging out with us a little bit more.
A little bit, yeah.
But you think he suffered by maybe leaving?
Yeah, I think so. I think that ESPN platforms make these personalities. I don't think without ESPN, Colin Cowherd is just a sports guy from somewhere. But he was in that 10 to 1 time slot, Monday to Friday, and ESPN just created that and just took him to new heights, to the point where he got this big, fantastic offer, I guess, to leave, to go to Fox.
Right.
But now you got to go find him. He's at FS1. I don't know how many people can just automatically pick up their remote control and say, we're FS1. I don't know right where that is. You can do that with the ESPN channels and the platforms.
Yeah, I watched him, I think it was last night on YouTube. He had Jeannie Buss on.
Oh, and talking about the Lakers situation with the new coach. That's a whole other story.
Yeah. She said she didn't even know. She goes, I didn't know. She goes, she agreed to come on this show 3 weeks ago. She didn't know that they were going in a new direction as far as a coach. That was her answer.
Okay, well, she's sticking to it. I'm assuming.
Because
she is in charge.
But I think she's more marketing, promo.
Yeah, she is. And her brother
is operations.
Is the operations guy responsible for player personnel and the coaching people and all that kind of thing. But but at some point, maybe you may have to have the sister fire her brother. A lot of people say that one of the problems with the Lakers is the guy who's calling the shots, and that would be the young Buss.
Yeah, well, and she had asked. When it was a pretty good question. They had asked Kupchak and Buss if was there an interest with Phil Jackson to come there,
right?
And she answered the question was no. She goes, but not no Phil Jackson. No, they didn't feel like they needed anyone else as far as a voice and player personnel.
Probably not. And that's unfortunate because they do need some help in that regard. And I don't know if Luke Walton is the answer as their new coach as far as the actual player personnel business.
Right.
He did a great job coaching that wonderful Golden State team in the interim, but I mean, they can win without Stephen Curry now, so we'll see.
So, he definitely kept going. So do you think with the Lakers, would it be more important to have Luke Walton or to have Jerry West come back as a GM?
Well, I think you maybe have them both if that I can answer it that way. But you need someone other than Luke Walton and someone than the young Buss calling a player personnel shot.
Yeah, Jerry West was able to pull off that, the Magic.
Correct.
Also getting Shaquille from Magic and the other players. So that free agency world certainly seems to be a lot more. It's becoming like college recruiting.
True. And apparently in the Lakers case, talking about the potential of free agents coming their way, apparently they have a lot of money to spend.
$60 million.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of money to spend.
You could get
I could do a lot of that.
You could get 2/3 of LeBron James with that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. And that's not good enough, but
The other point that they brought up that was kind of interesting is that nowadays, you can be a star in so many towns. For example, James Harden in Houston, Kevin Durant in Oklahoma, due to social media, the all these games being on either television, cable, and so forth, all the different options that you don't have to go to New York City. And you don't have to go to LA.
No, you really don't. And in fact, a lot of those guys probably would prefer going somewhere else so they don't have to deal with the New York media and things like that.
I think that would be a pain. But and I think that's why the Miami franchise, and you sent me down on assignment down there, but the Miami franchise is Pat Riley's obviously done a good job there, and had Shaquille, and that helped.
Correct.
And had this guy LeBron, and that helped. Yep. But they've also done pretty good on those years when they didn't have those stars, because it just seems like there you're not talking about a star. I mean, I think Miami I like that as my second best city. I like New York and Miami, but it has warm air. It's
yes,
nice,
it does.
Not
a lot of snow.
And I think they got a better tax advantage or something.
Yes, they do.
On
Florida,
the state.
No question.
So I don't think that they would always have a leg up on. I mean,
you know what the consistent piece to the Miami franchise has been, though? Think about it.
Is it the owner?
No, but the guy who's really, now that he's left of that, Dwayne Wade.
Yeah. And this year he seems to be a lot more solid.
Yeah, he's well in his 30s, and he's playing well. He's playing well. He sure is.
Yeah, it seems. Now, going back to the radio, who do you think is the best radio personality from ESPN who's left and become successful? Is it Dan Patrick, the Herd? I mean, someone who was on ESPN but went somewhere else.
Well, you do have Dan Patrick, who's doing very, very well now, where he is. You do have Rich Eisen, who was a former ESPN guy who's doing well himself out in Los Angeles now. He's on two different things. He's on the NFL Network, as well as the radio business. Cowherd for sure. Others who have left ESPN that are doing really well. Wow. We'll find out about
now. Who's getting ready to leave?
Mike Tirico.
Yeah.
Mike Tirico from Monday Night Football, basically, and also Skip Bayless from First Take. But I'm not a big fan, not a loss to me at all, whatever. I don't really watch First Take a lot.
Yeah.
But he is a partner with Stephen A. Smith on that First Take, and Bayless' contract runs out apparently this summer. He's going elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
No loss there.
Yeah, I think that didn't Skip have that show prior to Stephen A. coming on here?
I believe that's right. I think he was there before, and then Stephen A. became the other half of it. And Stephen A. is an interesting character, interesting guy. Yeah, he really is. Very, very well versed and a learned guy about sports, and no question about that. Sometimes a little outspoken, sometimes a little loud, but nonetheless, that's Stephen A.
Now, I tell you a show that I run across this at night time. Jalen Rose.
Jalen Rose, a great Michigan basketball player, played years in the NBA.
I find his insights to be very well articulated and very certainly authentic, and so he
may be a future talent, so to speak. Coming along on ESPN. You ever watch Highly Questionable?
No, who doesn't?
That's Dan Le Batard and his father. And Bomani Jones.
Okay, right. Now,
it's quite a show.
I have watched it. I didn't know it was called that.
Yeah.
I just think it is so freaking funny that the three of the guys are on top of each other, sitting there, in the language that they speak. It's like it's a certain dialect of Miami or something.
I guess. But Poppy brings his own unique personality to the whole show, as he does to the radio show, the Le Batard show. But it's kind of interesting. It's kind of fun. They touch some very interesting subjects, and the way they go about it is highly questionable.
Yeah, and sometimes it reminds me with Poppy. What is it, Poppy?
Yeah, that's Dan Le Batard's father.
Okay. Sometimes it reminds me of A Weekend with Bernie. Going, hey, is Poppy really alive or is he dead?
Is he really? Yeah, no, he's very much alive and well. You see him every day.
How old do you think Poppy is?
Oh, he's got to be well into his 80s.
I think
Le Batard himself is like 47, 48, almost closing in on 50. Yeah, interesting.
All right. That's enough of a little bit of what do you think?
Sure.
Because they're not pumping our shows as much as we're pumping.
We're pumping theirs.
Actually, we're not pumping it. We're critiquing it.
We're critiquing them, but in the same way pumping them as well. All publicity is good. There's some a little better than others, but all publicity is good.
Yeah, Donald Trump has taught us that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, little talk radio here with Jack and Daryl.